I know that according to many people, disarms are bullshit and they just don't work. And when you see the early stages of training, it is easy to understand that people think this way, because we are basically giving our sticks to each other. We are cooperating and we're learning how to do the disarms, and we're going through it over and over again. And we're not trying to keep the weapon, we're trying to let our partner do what they need to do to learn. There's an added bonus to this, that by doing this, we push away our egotistical need to win in training, which is never good for training. Training is about building skills, but a side benefit of cooperative training is that you might identify your own insecurity if you find yourself fighting your partner, and you can quash your ego by learning how to cooperate. As we get better at disarming, we then practice them in flow drills and free flow training. If you are really good at disarming, eventually you'll be able to find them in full speed sparring. It is almost cliche to say that disarms are accidental and incidental, but that is very true in my experience. You cannot say, oh, I'm going to disarm somebody. You have to find them in the event. However, if you don't train them to a really high level, there's no way you're going to be able to find them or use them if they present themselves. Disarms are difficult to perform. They're not easy. And it is the simplest and most gross motor disarms that work under pressure. Fancy stuff is fun to train and is great for show. As you and your partners become more skilled, you have to add more resistance in your training. Eventually, it won't be so hard to find them in full speed sparring. Whenever I hear people say these skills are bullshit, I think about all the times I've watched people take weapons away in, sport fighting. And I also think about one of my friends and one of my students who is a law enforcement officer, who had a guy try to stab him. And his training took over and he ended up on top of the guy with the knife in his possession. These skills are an absolute last resort. You can't allow yourself to become deluded in the dangers of facing the blade. If someone wants to attack you with a knife, you will likely be taking injury, and if that person is committed to killing you, the odds are definitely stacked in his favor or her favor. So avoidance and de-escalation should be your first line of defense. Understand that going hands-on against a knife is a losing proposition. And don't get fixated on disarming. Sometimes your best disarm might be a brick in your attacker's teeth, or throwing your attacker into oncoming traffic, or even better, putting a barrier between yourself and your attacker. There's a real danger that if you are training this stuff, you may be more willing to engage rather than finding a less dangerous solution to your problem. In the end, disarms do work if the planets align for you and you have the skills. But as I said, they are a last resort technique that are meant for the absolute worst situation, or in our niche stick fighting competition for that really, really cool victory.